I only wake up when I'm needed. It's a curse, disguised as a gift. A burden I've carried since childhood. A whisper in the dark, a tug in my soul, pulling me from oblivion to fulfill some unknown purpose. School was a wasteland where my presence went unnoticed. Teachers lectured to empty air, and classmates existed as blurry shapes in my peripheral vision. I was a ghost in their world, unseen and unneeded. Home offered a fragile semblance of connection. Errands, small chores, fleeting moments of usefulness. But even those faded, replaced by silence and the creeping realization that I was becoming unnecessary. "Relieved you're not a little kid anymore," my mother said, her voice tinged with relief. A weight lifted from her shoulders but settled upon mine. I was no longer needed, and the abyss began to call. 5 days ago, the tug returned, stronger than ever. Not for groceries, not for comfort, but something darker. A pull towards the road where metal beasts roared and devoured the night. The street reeked of rain and gasoline, the city's hum a mournful dirge. I walked towards the crosswalk, my heart slowing with each step, drawn to a purpose I couldn't comprehend. A truck materialized from the darkness, a metal leviathan hurtling towards me. It didn't slow, didn't swerve, as if obeying some unseen command. My purpose was becoming horrifyingly clear. The organ donor card in my wallet mocked me. A relic of a forgotten hope, a promise to be needed, twisted into a gruesome destiny. They didn't want me alive. They wanted what I could offer in death. I understood then the cruel irony of my existence. To be needed only in pieces, to be valued only for what I could relinquish. My life was not my own, but a harvest to be reaped. The headlights consumed me. A blinding white void. No time for protest, no room for escape. Only the primal urge to fulfill my purpose, to be where I was needed. I recalled my mother's relief, my father's detachment. They had shed their burden, unaware that it was being transferred to me, a sacrifice demanded by some unseen force. The impact was a silent scream, a doorway closing on my life. Sound dissolved, replaced by a distant echo of existence. I was no longer me, but something else, something useful. The card in my hand, slick with rain and blood, was the final proof. Usefulness once earned would be harvested, no matter the cost. My purpose was complete, but my story was far from over. I lingered, a phantom tethered to the world by the threads of unfinished needs. My essence clung to the rain-soaked asphalt, a lingering echo of a life sacrifice. I witnessed the arrival of the paramedics, their faces etched with grim determination. They were harvesters of a different kind, extracting the last vestiges of my being for a purpose beyond my comprehension. The ambulance sped away, sirens wailing a mournful tune. My corporeal form departed, but my consciousness remained, adrift in the city's undercurrents. I watched as my organs were transplanted into strangers, their lives extended by my sacrifice, a macabre symphony of life and death, orchestrated by an unseen hand. Each recipient became a vessel carrying a fragment of my essence. Their joys and sorrows were now intertwined with my spectral presence, a haunting legacy. I drifted through their lives, an unseen observer, a silent passenger in their journey. My needs were fulfilled, but at the cost of my own existence. I yearned for the oblivion I had known, for the peace that eluded me in this spectral realm. But the needs of others chained me to this world, a prisoner of my own usefulness. One of the recipients, a young woman with a failing heart, awakened a new purpose within me. Her spirit was fading, her will to live dwindling. I felt a surge of protectiveness, a desire to shield her from the darkness that threatened to consume her. A new kind of need emerged, one that transcended mere utility. I began to infuse her with my spectral energy, strengthening her will to fight, whispering encouragement in the silent spaces of her mind. Her health improved, her spirit ignited with a newfound vitality. I was no longer merely a collection of spare parts, but a guardian, a protector. I realized then that usefulness was not about being consumed, but about giving. Not about sacrifice, but about connection. My purpose had evolved, transcending the limitations of my physical form. I was needed not for what I had lost, but for what I could give. I embraced my spectral existence, becoming a beacon of hope for those in need. A guardian angel watching over the city's weary souls. The rain still fell, but it no longer carried the stench of despair. It was a cleansing force, washing away the shadows and nurturing the seeds of hope. My harvest of need had yielded an unexpected bounty, a purpose that transcended death, a connection that defied the boundaries of existence. And so I remained, a silent guardian, a watchful protector, forever bound to the city and its inhabitants by the threads of need and the promise of hope. The cycle continues, and I am needed more than ever. The cycle will never end. I will always be here. Always and forever. Thank you for reading my story.